who's tried enough for money by working harder but do not feel wealthier, then this message is for you. Because Dr. Joseph Murphy's timeless truth still stands. You have the right to be rich. When your thoughts, emotions, and your beliefs align with abundance, money starts moving towards you. Hi, this is Bindu Bodanapu, a spiritual wellness coach. I'm a consciousness and metaphysics researcher and a student of Ancient Mystery School. In this channel, I bring you ancient timeless wisdom for the modern world, helping you to elevate your consciousness, unlocking your potential, and lead from within. So today we are going into a wonderful book written by Dr. Joseph Murphy, How to Attract Money. This book was written in 1955. The principles have transformed lives of millions of people. Dr. Joseph Murphy was a New Thought minister who wrote more than 30 books translated worldwide. His most famous is The Power of Subconscious Mind, where he unlocks the true power of subconscious mind, which would help you to bring wealth, happiness, and money. So this book, How to Attract Money, is a concentrated formula, a powerful and straight to the point. So let's dive into this book. Wealth is a state of consciousness. Money isn't just on numbers or paper. Wealth is how you think, how you feel, and what you believe is in your subconscious. Murphy says wealth is a mind conditioned to divine supply, forever flowing. If you lost everything tomorrow but kept your wealth consciousness, you would attract it all back. But win a lottery with poverty consciousness, you would lose it all. We've seen this many times, repeatedly. Dr. Murphy says there is no virtue in poverty. He calls it a mental disease that should be abolished from this world. You are here to lead an abundant life and be happy, radiant, and free. You should have all the money you need to lead a full, happy, and prosperous life. But isn't money the root of all evil? Murphy addresses this directly. People misquote the Bible. It's the love of money to the exclusion of everything else that causes problems. Money is neutral, just like water. You can water a garden or even drown in it. Murphy explains uranium, lead, and gold, just like electrons and protons, arranged differently. There is nothing evil about electrons. First, the mental shift. Money is not evil. Money is a symbol of exchange, and you have every right to prosper. The fundamental law. Murphy teaches the fundamental law of mind. As within, so without. What this means is your outer world always reflects your inner world. Your bank account, your job, circumstances, all reflecting your consciousness. Your internal mental movements and imaginary governs, controls, and direct external planes of your life. Think, I have enough, or thinking I don't have enough is what you attract in life. There's a beautiful principle given by Dr. Joseph Murphy, the water into wine principle. Murphy takes this from the biblical story of Jesus turning water into wine as a psychological process. Water, your consciousness. It is formless and it can take any shape. Wine is a manifested desire, a formed reality. Every day you're changing water into wine, turning your thoughts and feelings into experiences. He gives a real life experience. A man lost everything in 1929. Crash. Murphy met him after a lecture and he said, I lost everything. I made $1 million in 4 years. I will make it again. All I lost is a symbol, and I can again attract the symbol of wealth. He became a salesman for a chemical company. And within 4 years, he became a president. What is the secret here? The secret is he said to himself, I can change water into wine, meaning I can change poverty thinking into wealth thinking. This is something that we all can apply in our life. We have the power to change water into wine. Similarly, Dr. Joseph Murphy talks about a simple technique, a simple affirmation technique. He says, if you want to attract more wealth, before going to sleep every night, repeat slowly with feeling, money is forever circulating freely in my life, and there is always a divine surplus. He says it works because if you're broke and say, I'm wealthy, your subconscious mind can reject it. But money is circulating describes a process. Your subconscious mind can accept that. Say this every night before you go to sleep 3 to 4 times daily upon waking up in the morning. But don't do this mechanically. You need to really feel it from your heart. So there's another technique Dr. Joseph Murphy talks about, the marriage feast. The marriage is between your desire and your feeling. Desire is like father. Feeling is like mother. Together, they create manifestation. There's a beautiful example Dr. Joseph Murphy gives in this book. A beauty operator lost everything. The business failed. The mother was sick. She went bankrupt and lost her home. She did something magical. Every night she did this. Every night, 5 minutes before going to sleep, she imagined that the bank manager was congratulating her on her wonderful deposits. She saw it, she heard his voice and felt the handshake. She was literally feeling it. And next 3 to 5 minutes, she imagined her mother saying, I'm so happy about your wonderful new position with joy. So she imagined her mother saying that I'm so happy about your success, your new wonderful position. And 5 minutes, she vividly imagined Murphy performing her wedding ceremony. Nothing happened for 3 weeks. Things got worse, but she persisted. In less than a month, she got married. Dr. Murphy performed the ceremony. Her husband gave her $24,000 check and a trip around the world. Murphy's teaching, the feeling of wealth produces wealth. So I want all of you to try this. Even when you know your circumstances are bad, even when you know you're broke, I want you to feel the wealth consciousness in your mind. Because remember, wealth consciousness or the feeling of wealth produces wealth. There's another beautiful technique was given by Dr. Joseph Murphy, scientific imagination. There was a young Australian man. He wanted to become a doctor, but he had no money, has not even graduated high school. He cleaned doctors' offices to survive. Every night, as he fell asleep, he saw a diploma on a wall with the name in big, bold letters, with his own name. He made it so real, he could practically touch the diploma. After months, one doctor took a liking of him and started training him, sent him to high school, then to college, and all his expenses were paid. Today, he is a prominent doctor in Montreal, Canada. So this is a beautiful example where Dr. Murphy explains, having seen the end, you will witness the means of realization of the end. What that means is you don't need to figure out how you're going to get to the end. Your job is to stay with the end. What is the vision that you want to manifest? If you don't need to figure out how this is going to work, because your subconscious is duty to figure out the how. And the next technique given by Dr. Joseph Murphy, rejecting the thieves. This is a beautiful technique. There was a man who was always used to be scared about money, and he never had money. He used to be living in a fear consciousness. So he used to frequently say, God is the source of my supply. All needs are met at every moment of time, point of space. There is always a divine surplus. But negative thoughts flooded in. There is no hope. You're broke. You can't make it. These are the thoughts that was boggling his mind. With Dr. Murphy's instructions, he said, these are the thieves that are trying to break in. Don't let them in. What that means is the thoughts are nothing but the thieves who are trying to break into your mind. Don't let them in. So the man diligently practiced what Dr. Murphy said. On day 1, he had 50 negative thoughts per hour, rejected each and every one of them, and returned back to the affirmation. On day 2, the thieves again tried to break in, but it was fewer thieves this time. On day 3, even less. On day 4, it was very intermittent. Within weeks, his credit got extended, his business improved, and the situation transformed. So the key here is don't fight the negative thoughts. Don't argue with them. Just return back to your positive affirmation. You are the doorman. You don't need to argue with the thieves. You don't just let them in. This is a beautiful way that we all can practice to bring back to our positive affirmations. So whenever you have negative thoughts in your mind, do not fight it. Do not argue with them. Return back to the affirmation. God is the source of my supply. All my needs are met at every moment of time and point of space. There is always a divine surplus. This is a beautiful affirmation I want all of you to try. And the next important mistake or the critical mistake is praying 2 ways. Dr. Joseph Murphy emphasizes a lot why people make mistakes. People pray in 2 ways. This cancels out their good. You say, God is prospering me. I'm divinely supplied. 5 minutes later, I can't pay my bills. I never have enough money. These are the thoughts you're entertaining in your mind. Prayer is nothing but what you're thinking, what you're asking for. You're praying for prosperity and poverty simultaneously. Like mixing acid and alkali, you get inherent substance. Be faithful to your ideal. Be loyal to your mental marriage with wealth. Every complaint about lack divorces you from prosperity and marries you to poverty. Remember this. There's another golden rule of wealth Dr. Joseph Murphy explains. One of the biggest blocks is resenting others' success. Even though they don't deserve that. Every thought you think about others, they don't deserve success. They probably are dishonest if you see them wealthy. You're literally pushing wealth away. Why? Because what you condemn, you lose. What you bless, you multiply. The very important rule of wealth. What you condemn, you lose. What you bless, you multiply. There was a beautiful example quoted in this book. At a bank, when you see your competitor depositing $20,000, you should not feel jealous. You should feel happy about their success. Thank you, God, for your abundance. This is a quote or this is a phrase you say to yourself when your competitor is depositing money in the bank. As it comes to him, it comes to me. So you're saying, as it comes to him, that's going to come to me. When you bless others people's wealth, you bless your own. When you condemn it, you condemn what you are praying for. When a ship comes in for your friend, it comes in for you too. So, the power of sustained feeling. Dr. Murphy talks about the sustained feeling. There was once a school teacher in California making $5,000 to $8,000 yearly, and she saw a beautiful ermine coat which costed $8,000. She thought, I could never afford that coat. But she learned Dr. Joseph Murphy's teachings and principles. So every night before going to sleep, she imagined herself putting on this beautiful fur coat. She felt the fur. She caressed it like a child with a doll. She felt the joy of wearing this beautiful coat and owning it. So 1 month later, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months later, nothing happened. She almost gave up. But Dr. Joseph Murphy reminded her, he who perseveres to the end shall be saved. So that means perseverance is really important. Make sure you don't give up in between until your dream is fulfilled. So she continued. On one Sunday, a man accidentally stepped on her toe. He apologized to her and he actually drove her home. And when he saw this beautiful lady, the teacher, he proposed her for marriage, gave her a diamond ring, and said, I saw the most beautiful, wonderful coat. You would look radiant wearing it. So it was the exact coat that the lady was dreaming about. And the shopkeeper said, hundreds of wealthy women came into the shop and had a look at it, but did not choose to buy it, and they bought something else. So this coat was exactly waiting for her. Can you see the power here? When you don't give up, your imagination creates reality. So when you don't give up in between, be very faithful to your ideal, and this is inevitable to happen. So there's some of the common blocks of wealth that Dr. Joseph Murphy talks about. The reason why people don't attain wealth is because condemning money as filthy lucre. Many people think money is bad. If you think money is dirty, it will flee. Believing there's virtue in poverty. Many people think that there's a virtue in poverty, but there is no spiritual price to being broke. And the third one, fear and hoarding, creates economic illness. If you are fearful that there will be a lack of money, you are creating your own economy which will be filled with lack. Feeling unworthy, I don't deserve wealth, cuts away the supply of wealth. Focusing on the how. Always imagine the end. Let the universe figure it out for you how to deliver what you want. These are some of the common blocks of wealth Dr. Joseph Murphy talks about. And there is a daily formula that you could practice every day in your day-to-day life. Please remember this and save this. Every morning, God is the source of my supply. All my financial needs are met at every moment of time and point of space. There is always a divine surplus. This is an affirmation you can say every morning when you wake up and throughout the day. I am the channel through which God's riches flow ceaselessly, copiously, and freely. When negative thoughts arise in your mind, there is a divine solution. God's wealth is my wealth. Say this affirmation, and before going to sleep, relax your body, imagine your desire fulfilled, and always feel the feeling that the reality is already happened. Fall asleep in this feeling. This is a daily formula that you can practice to bring more wealth into your life. Morning affirmation throughout the day when negative thoughts arise and before going to sleep. This is how you raise your wealth consciousness and money is inevitably going to flow into your life. And Dr. Murphy talks about the principle of loyalty. Murphy compares prayer to a ship's captain navigating. When your destination or your goal, when you know that, when storms come, don't panic. Calmly redirect back to your course. You are the captain of your ship. Your thoughts and feelings are the rudder. You go where your vision is. Vision on lack, problems, obstacles, these are only caused because you're not being loyal to your vision. And this is how we create wealth consciousness. The power of night prayer. Dr. Joseph Murphy talks about a lot about night prayer. The time before sleep is the most powerful way of impressing your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind relaxes. When your conscious mind relaxes, your subconscious becomes highly receptive. For financial problems before sleep, say this: I now turn this matter over to God within me. It knows only the answer. As the sun rises in the morning, so will my answers be resurrected. I know the sunrise never fails. Then sleep in peace. Don't fret or worry. Night brings counsel. Your intellect cannot solve all problems, but your subconscious mind, connected to the infinite intelligence, can solve all problems. So make sure to follow this and share in the chat if you have achieved something in your life. There's also something called the law of circulation. Money is like blood in your body. Blood circulates freely. Health. Money circulates freely. It is economic health. Hoarding out fear creates economic illness. There's a beautiful example in the book given by Dr. Joseph Murphy. In 1929 crash was a psychological panic, fear seizing people's minds. There was one lady who loved coffee, and she basically went from shop to shop and bought all the coffee from every shop, and she stored in her cellar. One day, there was a thief who broke in and he robbed everything from the house, including the coffee. Why? Because she was living in fear. So never fear. When you fear, you are blocking your abundance. So there was also a Zen story that was spoken about in this book. A disciple asked a Zen master, "What is truth?" The monk took a bag off his back and placed it on the ground. "Master, how does it work?" asked the disciple. The monk placed the back on his shoulder and walked down the road singing. What does that mean? The bag is your problem. When you place it down, you're casting on to the divine wisdom. When you put it back on, you still have the problem physically, but now you're singing because you have peace about it. You have turned it over to the infinite intelligence that knows only the answer. This is the art of prayer. You don't linger on to the problem, you give it to the infinite intelligence to solve the problem. The question that changes everything. How can I be more useful to my fellow creatures? How can I contribute more to the humanity? There was a struggling minister who used his prayer. God reveals to me better ways to present the truth of God to my fellow creatures. He had money poured in, mortgage paid in few years, and never worried about money since then. The principle here is when you focus on service, contribution, adding value to your fellow creatures, money flows automatically. Money flows towards value. Thinking, how can I get money? Moving against the current. Thinking, how can I serve? How can I help? Moves towards the current. These are some beautiful ways where we can bring money into our life. The bank teller's guilt. Murphy shares his powerful story about the connection between guilt and external circumstances. There was a bank teller, very honest, never stole money, but he was having an external affair. He was supporting another woman while denying his own family. He lived in constant fear of being discovered, deep guilt. He developed acute sinusitis. Medication only gave temporary relief. Murphy explained that his sickness was caused by guilt and fear. But here is the interesting part. One day, this teller was accused of embezzling money from the bank. He was innocent, but the evidence was circumstantial. He was panic-stricken. Then he realized he was accused externally because he already accused himself internally. Murphy says, in as much as he was always accusing himself on the inner plane, he would be accused on the outer. He immediately broke off the affair and began to pray. There is nothing hidden that is not revealed. The peace of God reigns supreme in the minds and hearts of all concerned. The truth came out. Another young man was discovered as an actual thief. Murphy says, only through prayer he was saved from a jail sentence. The lesson. Your inner psychological state creates your outer circumstances. Hidden guilt attracts accusation. Hidden resentment attracts conflicts. Hidden fear attracts the very thing of you fear. The golden rule in action. Murphy quotes that he calls the great law. As you would that men should think about you, think you about them in the same manner. As you would that men should feel about you, feel you also about them in the same manner. He says, you should declare from your heart, I wish for every man who walks on the earth what I wish for myself. The sincere wish of my heart is peace, love, joy, abundance, and God's blessings to all men everywhere. Now, some of you might be thinking, but what about my competitors? What about people who has wronged me? Murphy's answer is clear. Bless them always. Because when you curse them, you're cursing yourself. When you wish them harm, you're harming yourself. The law is impersonal. It doesn't care about your justifications. He says, whatever you claim as true for yourself, claim it for all men everywhere. If you pray for happiness, pray for everyone's happiness. If you pray for success, rejoice in everyone's success. This isn't just nice advice, this is law. What you wish for others, you're creating in your own consciousness, and your consciousness is your destiny. Murphy quotes Jesus, lay upon yourself treasures in heaven where moth and rust do not corrupt, and where thieves cannot break through and steal. What does this physically mean? Or practically? Murphy says the treasures of heaven are the truths of God that you possess in your soul. Fill your mind with peace, harmony, faith, joy, honesty, integrity, loving kindness, and gentleness. These qualities can never be stolen from you. No recession can take place. No thief can break in and steal them. No circumstances can remove them. When you build these qualities in your consciousness, you are truly wealthy. And here's the beautiful part. When your consciousness is filled with these qualities, material wealth flows naturally as its expression. You're not chasing money. Money is chasing you. The investment prayer. If you're worried about investments, stocks, or financial decisions, Murphy gives this prayer. Infinite intelligence governs and watches over all my financial transactions, and whatsoever I do shall prosper. Use this frequently, says Dr. Joseph Murphy. You will find that your investments will be wiser. Moreover, you will be protected from loss as you will be promoted to sell your securities or holdings before any loss accrues to you. I love this because it's recognizing that there's an intelligence within you that knows things your conscious mind doesn't. When you turn your financial decisions over into this inner wisdom, you will get hunches, intuitions, and promptings. You will feel like selling it before a crash. You'll feel drawn to certain opportunities. This isn't magic, it's tapping into deeper levels of knowing. The overshadowing presence. Here's a beautiful prayer Murphy gives for protecting all your possessions. The overshadowing presence which guides the planets on their course and causes the sun to shine, watches over my possessions, home, business, and all things that are mine. God is my fortress and vault. All my possessions are secure in God. It is wonderful. Say this daily. It shifts your sense of security from external things to divine presence. You stop worrying about thieves, disasters, or economic collapse. You rest in the awareness that is some intelligence or the same intelligence that runs the universe is watching over your affairs. And Murphy says, by reminding yourself daily of this great truth and by observing the laws of love, you will always be guided, watched over, and prospered in all ways. The night prayer for problems. If you have a financial problem or any problem, Murphy gives the specific technique. Before you go to sleep at night, say, "Now I sleep in peace. I have turned this matter over to the God wisdom within. It knows only the answers. As the sun rises in the morning, so will my answers be resurrected. I know the sunrise never fails." Then go to sleep. Don't fret, don't fuss or fume over the problem. Murphy says, night brings counsel. Sleep on it. Your conscious intellect cannot solve all the problems, but your subconscious mind, connected to the infinite intelligence, can. When you turn it over before sleep, you're giving your deeper mind permission to work on it while you rest. Many times you will awake with the answers or circumstances will shift to bring you the solution. The store detective principle. Murphy talks about people who shoplift, trying to get something for nothing. He says these people are living in consciousness of lack and limitation. They're stealing for themselves, attracting loss in other areas. They lack faith in God and understanding of how their mind works. Murphy says if they would pray for true place, divine expression, and supply, they would find work. They then, by honest integrity and perseverance, they would become a credit to themselves and society. The principle here is that you can't get something for nothing. Trying to cheat the system always backfires. But when you operate with the integrity, giving honest value, contributing genuinely, supply flows to you effortlessly. The universe rewards honesty and integrity. It punishes dishonesty and deception, even if there seems to be a short-term gain. The paradox of poverty. Murphy says something provocative. For A, have the poor always with you. What does that mean? He explains, no matter how much wealth you have, there's always something you want. Maybe you have millions, but your health is failing. Maybe you have perfect health, but you're lonely. Maybe you have love, but you lack purpose. In that moment, you're poor. Murphy says, we could not know what abundance was except when we were conscious of lack. Your current limitation is not an enemy, it is your teacher. It's what pushes you to grow, to seek, to discover the power within you. Murphy says, through dissatisfaction, we are led to satisfaction. So don't curse your current poor state. It's the contrast that helps you appreciate abundance. It's the problem that leads you to solution. It's the lack that points you to poverty or supply. The journey is infinite. Here is something Dr. Murphy says. When one desire is satisfied, another comes, and so on to infinity. You are here to grow. Life is progression. It is not static. You're not trying to arrive at some final destination where you have everything and want nothing. That would be death. Life is about continuous expansion, growth, and evolution. Murphy says, you are here to go from glory to glory. There is no end, for there is no end to God's glory. So even when you achieve your current financial goal, there will always be new desires. That's not a problem. That's the joy of living. You're never done growing. You're never done expanding. You're never done discovering more of the infinite abundance that's available. This should take the pressure off. You're not trying to reach some finish line. You're enjoying the journey of continuous unfoldment. Feeding the poor within. Murphy says, feed the poor within you. Clothe the naked ideas. What does that mean? Your ideas start out naked, formless, invisible, unmanifested. Your job is to clothe them by believing in their reality, feeling them as true, trusting the process, sustaining the vision. When you do this, your words, ideas becomes flesh, takes form. Murphy says, when you are hungry, poor states, you seek food. When worried, you seek peace. When you are sick, you seek health. Your desire of prosperity is actually God calling you to claim your abundance. Your lack is not punishment, it is an invitation to discover the infinite supply within you. Pain as God's alarm system. Murphy gives this interesting example. A pain in your shoulder is a blessing in disguise. It tells you to do something about it at once. If you had no pain, you wouldn't know something was wrong and your arm might literally fall off. Your pain is God's alarm system telling you to seek peace and healing power. Same with financial pain. When you feel the pinch of lack, it's not punishment. It's an alarm system saying, hey, you're off course. You need to change your consciousness. Murphy says, when cold, you build a fire. When you're hungry, you eat. When you are in lack, enter into the mode of opulence and plenty. The solution of lack is not to worry about lack. The solution is to enter the consciousness of abundance. The great Psalms for comfort. When you're feared and worried, Murphy says to feed your mind with great spiritual truths. Meditate on these Psalms. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. God is my refuge, my salvation. Whom shall I fear? God is my ever-present in time of trouble. He shall cover me with feathers, and under his wings shall I rest. One with God is a majority. If God be for me, who can be against me? I do all things through Christ, which strengthen me. Let these truths flood your mind and heart. They will crowd out fear, doubt, and worry. Murphy says, let the healing vibration of these truths flood your mind. This isn't religious talk, this is a psychological reconditioning. You're replacing fear based thoughts with faith based thoughts. And since thoughts create reality, you're literally changing your future. A merry heart. Murphy quotes, a merry heart maketh a cheerful countenance. A merry heart hath a continuous feast. A merry heart does good like a medicine. Your emotional state affects everything, your health, your relationships, your finances. When you're heavy and depressed, you repel good. When you're light and joyful, you attract good. Murphy says, begin now to stir up the gift of God by completely rejecting the evidence of senses. Don't let external circumstances dictate your internal state. Reverse it. Let your internal state of joy, peace, and abundance dictate your external circumstances. Choose to be merry. Choose to be grateful. Choose to be an expectant. Not because everything is perfect, but because you know the law, as within, so without. Walking in the consciousness of presence. Murphy gives this beautiful affirmation for daily use. I walk in the consciousness of the presence of God all day long. His fullness flows through me at all times, filling up the empty vessels of my life. See this throughout your day. It keeps you anchored in the awareness of the divine presence within you. When you walk with this consciousness, you are not looking at external sources of supply. You are not dependent on your job, your clients, your investments. You're drawing from the infinite source within you. And when you do that, external sources appear. You're not limited by them. Murphy says, when you are full of the feeding of being, what you long to be, your prayer is answered. The 4 classifications. Murphy says everything you seek falls under one of these 4 categories: health, wealth, love, expression, which is purpose and fulfillment. Look at your life. Which vessels are empty? Which areas need filling? Don't neglect any. Some people have wealth but no health. Others have love but no expression. The goal is fullness of all areas. And Murphy says this is possible not through struggle but through right consciousness. Fill your consciousness with awareness of wholeness in all 4 areas, and your external life must reflect it. Freedom through two-way prayer. Murphy says that beautiful, profound point. If you couldn't use your powers in both positive and negative ways, you would never discover yourself. If you were compelled to be good, that wouldn't be goodness. You would be a robot. You have the freedom to be a murderer or a saint. You have the freedom to be poor or rich. You have the freedom is what makes you the choice meaningful. When someone chooses success despite obstacles, we admire them. Why? Because they chose it. They weren't forced. Murphy says you have freedom to love because you can give it or retain it. If compelled to love, there is no love. So don't curse your freedom. Don't wish someone would have just hand your wealth without effort. The fact that you have to choose it, claim it, embody it, that's what makes it real. That's what makes it true. The verdict you render. Murphy compares prayer to a lawyer pleading a case before judge. The lawyer proves the defendant is not guilty but instead a victim of lies and false beliefs. You are the judge. You render your own verdict. The negative thoughts of lack, poverty, and failure are all false. They they are lies. They're nothing to back them up. There's only one power, the spiritual power within you. When you recognize this, you cease giving power to conditions, circumstances, and opinions of others. You give all power to the spiritual path within. Murphy says your mental acceptance and expectancy of wealth has its own mathematics and mechanics of expression. You don't have to figure out how. You just have to accept it, and embody the consciousness of it. The closing prayer. Murphy ends with this beautiful daily prayer, and I want you to write this down. God is the source of my supply. That supply is my supply now. His riches flow to me freely, copiously, and abundantly. I'm forever conscious of my true worth. I give to my talents freely, and I'm wonderfully, divinely compensated. Thank you, Father. Say this every single day. Write it on your heart. Let it become part of your consciousness. This prayer acknowledges the source, God or infinite intelligence, your connection to the source. It's your supply, the flow, freely, copiously, and abundantly. Your worthiness, conscious of true worth. Your contribution, giving your talents freely, and your compensation. Your gratitude. Thank you, Father. It's a complete formula for prosperity consciousness. Final thoughts. Alright everyone, we covered a lot in this masterclass. Let's summarize the absolute key points that you need to remember. Wealth is a state of consciousness, not just money in the bank. Your external world is always reflecting your inner consciousness. Change your thoughts and feelings, and you must change your circumstances. Use specific techniques, affirmations, visualizations, feeling the reality of your desire. Be persistent, the sustained mood demonstrates. Never resent others' success, bless it, and you multiply your own. Give all power to the spiritual power within you, not to the external conditions. Feel wealthy now, and wealth must follow. Remember what Dr. Joseph Murphy says, man is belief expressed. You are right now expressing your beliefs. Look at your bank account, it's expressing your beliefs about money. Look at your health, it's expressing your beliefs about your body. Look at your relationships, they're expressing your belief about love. If you don't like what you're expressing, change your belief. And how do you change beliefs? Through repetition, through feeling, through sustained focus on the ideal. This isn't theory, this is a law. Murphy proved it in his own life. The people in this book proved it in their own lives too. So now it is your turn. So start tonight, use the techniques and be consistent, and watch your life transform. If you loved this summary of the book, hit a like and subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment about what technique you're going to follow, and share your results with us. And remember, you have the right to be rich. It's not selfish, it's your divine inheritance. Claim it, embody it, live it. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.